This is drifting.
Yeah.
This is the drift wizard.
He doesn't have his hat on.
Yeah, well, first one is definitely like your team.
Okay.
Like if you don't have a good team working for you, you're going nowhere. Even if you're building the car yourself and you're confident in your own skills, like I built that whole car myself, I put everything on it, but that guy over there is better than me at doing all this stuff. He's a better mechanic than me. I full admit that. Find people who either are equivalent skills to you in the mechanical side of things, or they're better than you.
Right.
And then having a few guys that can change tires, do fuel and all that, but at least one of those guys needs to be somewhat of like a guru mechanic type person who you look up to and you trust. Having that trust within that takes years to build. So like I suggest starting out the program, carrying along your crew, and being nice to your crew. You see a lot of turnaround here with a lot of guys, not going to mention names, but a lot of guys, you see them just go through crews like every year, and there's reasons behind that, you know. If you're nice to your guys and you become a family, you can do a lot more together and work as a cohesive unit rather than have a guy that's just helping you that you barely know. Right. So that's number one, I would say. Number two, probably competition seat time. Yeah, but literally competition seat time in general, because it's so much different than going out to a fun day and shredding with your boys. Putting yourself in the line where you have to do a good lap right now and you have one chance to do it, that's so much different.
Or the whole trip's wasted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and that's another thing as well, is get used to the travel. So like, we'll put that as 2.5 right there. 2.5. Get used to the travel. Get used to moving your guys around. If your pro-am is super local and you're just doing your one local track, you're not preparing yourself properly. You need to go to different tracks. You need to go to places that you're unfamiliar with, that you've never driven before, and you've done, you know, one day of practice, and then you go right into competition. You need to get used to that format. If you're killing it at your local tracks, that's great and all, but if you show elsewhere, if you show up to a track you've never driven before, then you're not going to look very good. Or unless you're a very adaptable driver, you know. And then I'd say number three, reliable car. Yeah, spending the money and saving the money. If you don't have it now, just wait, buy the parts that are going to be reliable. Put a decent ECU in your car, like Link or something like that. Put a PDM in your car. Don't run relays and all that stuff. Just get reliable things. A nice transmission, G-Force style stuff, like that stuff. Everybody's running a G-Force here because they don't break, you know? So those kind of things, like, it's just something you don't have to worry about. I mean, I used to worry about in programs. I ran my 350Z and I go through CD 009s every probably 2 a season, you know? I'm terrible at shifting. We'll put that out there. But with the G-Force, I mean, I've had that same transmission in the car since 2014. Actually, it was in the E30 before. Same transmission. We put new gears in it. We've gone through stuff over the years. We get it serviced every 2 years. And usually that costs us, you know, under $1,000, you know, a couple $100 in parts, and that thing's been running for 9 years now. 9 years. Be efficient with your spending. Buy quality parts is kind of what I'm hearing. I spent $2,700 on that transmission back in 2009. So put it, and then a few $100 every couple of years to rebuild it. And that's it. So and I was paying what $600 at the junkyard for a CD 009. And that's when the prices were good. They've gone up now. So if you're paying that 2 times a season, that's $1,200. I mean, that's 2 seasons worth of transmissions that I'm putting into that, and I don't have to worry about it for 10 years. You know, like it's it's just the reliability. And those things make you shift like a superhero. So like every time you hop in the car, you're like, oh God, I'm the best driver ever. Hell yeah. You hop in something like a T56 or CD 009 again, and I'm grinding gears. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm shifting granny slow and all this. So that way you can focus on your driving. Exactly. What you're getting at. Exactly. Yeah. Focus on the driving and have the parts that basically keep the car running, so you don't have to worry about it. This car, fortunately, has been solid all year long. On our old car, the E30, we just had a plethora of problems. The most random stuff every round, from breaking trailing arms to popping hard lines on the steering rack to relays going bad and just all sorts of stuff. So any future problems that you can eliminate.
Right.
That also comes with experience.
Sure.
So like, again, like the more competition drifting you do, the more experience you're going to get, the more spare parts you're going to bring, and you're going to get better and better over the years. The only reason we took second place is because we've been doing this long, and we know what to bring. I mean, we broke stuff out there. We fixed our supercharger.
Right.
We drilled a hole in the actuator for the supercharger and put a cotter pin in there.
Is this going to be on the YouTube?
Oh yeah, we're good. Yeah, put a cotter pin in there. So, like, it's like that trackside experience. You're not going to get anywhere else.
Right, and
like
you can only learn that by doing it.
Exactly. And it's like those quick fixes that you just got to do, and you have to make that executive decision. Like now, like in the finals, we broke wheel studs.
Right.
We had to make a decision going into the finals with Ben. Like, hey, do we put new tires on the car and risk breaking another wheel stud? No. We already broke 2 on one side and 1 on the other. So like we broke another one, we were done.
Right.
So we made the executive decision. The tires still had tread on them. We're going to send it on the tires we had.
And you only know that because of experience.
Experience, and also we did a couple laps on like 3-lap tires, so we knew that. I love you too. We knew that we could get at least 3 laps out of the tires.
Right.
The 4th lap, it was by outer zone 4. They were washed out, and I slid off the track. But it is what it is, and sometimes you got to make those decisions, and you're not going to have that experience to make those decisions unless you come out here and do it. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So like,
congratulations on that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. So like, get out and do it. Get a good team, and get seat time. The sim is very helpful for seat time. I run all these FD tracks in the sim before I come out. It may be scaled differently, it may, different, whatever physics, it doesn't matter. You're getting your eye line right, you're getting your timing right, it's where you're initiating, you're running through the gears, you're getting that muscle memory built up so that when you get here, hey, first, second, third, click, initiate. I don't have to think about it, So, and getting that experience, and like, you also have that time to like make like a mistake that also like works out well.
Right.
You ever get those happy mistakes where you're like, oh, I did too much anger. Like, well, if I just pour on throttle, oh my God, that worked
now
great.
we're in it.
Let's do that every time, So the sim gives you that chance to do that, because we got 4 practice laps before we went into qualifying.
Only 4?
Yeah, we had issues in practice, so that's when the actuator fell off. We had to fix that, so we missed an hour of practice. And
you're only from like, what was it, like 8 to like 10 or something?
That was today, yeah. So we went into qualifying. Well, that was for competition. That was top 16 practice. So we had a little bit of practice there. Today we actually opted to not run that much practice.
Okay.
We ran 2 laps of practice.
You were looking really good out there.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I knew we had our stuff dialed. I've done a lot of laps here in the sim. I've done a lot of laps here before, so I knew that if I just don't think and just drive, it'll work out.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, go for it.
More related to what you were just talking about, but how do you feel about the changes to the track, specifically at STL?
Oh, it was good.
Good? Better?
Very good, yeah. It's still like relatively the same track. There's just not that pinch-off point where you have to shallow up on so much angle. It also made it a lot easier for the chase car. Like, you got buried in smoke on this track. It was kind of impossible not to. Unless you were cutting the line a lot.
I remember that was the major complaint last year.
Yeah. Unless you were cutting the line a lot in outer zone 3 before you switch back, you're just buried. And the only way to fill the zone behind the lead driver and do your chase driver, fulfill your chase driver obligations,
duties,
properly, is to be on line with him and in the pocket. But you can't, because you're getting blasted with smoke, and then that transition right across that narrow area, you're just praying he didn't spin, or praying that something didn't happen, and sometimes you just gotta shoot it in there, and that's why we saw a lot of crashes last year where people come out of that and just smash someone in outer zone.
They were saying that STL was like the hardest on the cars of like any of the events in this area, so I totally believe that.
No, coming out of zone 3 into zone 4, you're just praying he doesn't make a mistake, right? You have to send it behind him, and if he does make a mistake, you hit him and it's his fault, but car gets messed up, all that stuff. So it's a difficult track, and even with the setup now, you're still cutting through the smoke a lot,
especially on 3 to 4.
You have more room to kind of cheat a little bit, because like you can follow him back, and he switches back so far over that the smoke line is crossing the track, and you're not buried in it. So yeah, a lot better, a whole lot better. Yeah, and I like the new wall they added. That
How did
scared
you
me
feel
in
about the
qualifying.
rumble strip though?
The rumble strip I like.
You liked it?
Oh yeah, because we had no eye line before. And last year
it was all dirt last year.
It was all dirt, but they didn't want us dipping tires in the dirt, so they drew the outer line about 6 feet off the dirt. And then we had no cones along that outer line because they didn't want us to hit them all day long. So they put the cones like 6 feet off the line. So you had to get like 6 feet away from the cones, and you couldn't see the line very well, so you just sort of judged the cones. And I asked my spotter, like, were we in the pocket? And he's like, oh yeah, it was perfect. And then you just try and keep doing that and keeping that distance from the cones.
But it's all like physical feel versus like visual.
It's visual, but the cones aren't. You're not trying to put your bumper on the cone.
Right,
you're trying to put your bumper
yeah.
like 6 feet off the cone,
Sure.
which is the tricky part, you know, because you're trying to judge 6 feet while you're looking over your shoulder, going backwards at 70
and
miles
driving
an hour.
with another guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Sure. And driving with another guy. So yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, I love this track. Yeah.
Okay, final bonus question.
Got it.
All right, so what is the one thing that you felt like you guys did really well during this event that you're going to try and take that energy to the next event?
Our chase runs. Yeah. I've been trying to, this whole goal of this year, we earned 3rd place last year in the championship, so we're guaranteed a Pro 1 license for next year. That's our plan. So this year was just kind of like, I need to get better at tandem. I need to chase hard. I need to get on the doors and win those battles and not have it be a one more time or whatever. I just need to get on them, and we did that in top 4 with the Naughty really well.
Yeah.
I put down a killer chase.
That was a hard battle too.
Yeah, and I knew, you know, when you're in the chase line at the beginning of it, because you got qualified us, you're always at a disadvantage, because if you chase kind of timid, you go back around, his spotter's like, oh yeah, he was timid, you know, just get on his door and you're fine, or he made a mistake or whatever. So I didn't want to leave it in the judge's hands. I just sent it. I was like, I'm gonna get as close to him as possible.
Well, that's why people like watching you drive too.
Yeah.
It's the full send.
Yeah, you just, you know, it's either, you know, I'm either gonna make it or I'm not. You know, one of the two. You know, either it's gonna work or I'm gonna end up in the mud.
Oh, so I guess last part, real quick. Any sponsors you want to mention, and your Instagram?
Instagram is Hateley Drift. Follow us. We're doing awesome videos with the Drift Wizard and all sorts of goofy, weird stuff.
They make great videos. If you haven't already followed Andy, absolutely do yourself a favor and do that.
It's a fun time. I'll make it a fun time for you.
Hell yeah.
So
sponsors.
I want to thank NRG, definitely. They got us some awesome package in the car, awesome seats. We actually have T-Rexes on the back of our seats.
Oh, awesome. Can we take a look at it?
You got to check them out. Yeah,
for sure.
And then Link ECU, definitely. They like the electronics package on this car is so much better than my old car that like we don't have to think about it. The car just fires up. If anything's wrong.
And you have like the live hotline customer support.
Oh, they're here all the time. Yeah, they're at every event, and just the support. They've done so much for us. Like we can't thank them enough.
For sure.
Yeah, and just having that reliability, like these guys here doing it. I mean, with my old ECU in Seattle last year, we had that issue with the relays.
I was there. Yeah, I remember.
We called Electromotive. We couldn't get a hold of him, and then it happens that Ray from RTR over there happened to know the guy from Electromotive, so he had his number. We called him up. He's like, "Oh, I had stopped working there like a year ago, but what you need help with?"
Okay, cool.
And he helped us out, you know. But like having
drift community.
Yeah, right. But having Link here, where it's like, if I have any issue,
they'll
like,
just come over,
plug the computer in, and they do their thing. And like we haven't been there yet, but yeah, like they're always over here asking, you know, do you need help with anything? Are you good? Like any issues? Like that is, you can't beat it. Yeah, you can't beat that customer service. Like cool, you know.
Thanks for the endorsement. Yeah.
That's yeah, no, they're awesome, dude. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, just killer event, man.
Cool. Hey, once again, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, dude.
Could you give us
through the guap like a drive through. It don't matter if it's hard, I'm right beside you. And she on my neck cause it costs to.